Hi, my name is Lizette Hollis, and I will be talking about childhood obesity. I wanted to focus on this topic because, according to the statistics over the years, obesity in infants and children have been increasing. So, it's just something that I want to talk about, especially now that, I have my son and I want to prevent, from him, gaining too much weight right now that he's a month and about a week old. Um, and also, I was concerned because I was thinking, well, maybe he's underweight or is he overweight? But I just want to make sure, that he doesn't gain too much, again, leading to the childhood obesity. When I worked as a daycare provider, I did see a lot of kids and infants, that were a little bit overweight. I remember from personal experience, I remember working the daycare and there was an infant that was very, very, very chubby, but more than just chubby, like it was overweight. So we were trying to, monitor how much he ate. He was being eating in formula, so not breastfeeding. So that's why it's very important to just keep track. I will be giving examples and main points of some factors of obesity, and that can be genetics. So, that it can run in the family. Another one can be the eating and physical activity. Nowadays, kids are in their tablets or on their phones. And back then, when I was a kid, or, when maybe a bunch of you, when you were a kid, or my husband was a kid, we all used to play more outside, and, more over there on our bike and our scooters, playing with friends, soccer. Nowadays they're on their tablets. And again, from personal experience, from work experience, I saw many of the after school kids with even a better phone than I had, or a tablet that I didn't even have, and again, instead of having them, play outside, and I don't know why our director let them play in their tablets. I don't know. Another one was eating. So also eating, obviously, parents need to set the example, cook healthier meals, and prepare meals at home rather than eating fast food. I know nowadays, we're busy and everything. It's easier to just go through the drive-through and just order something, cheap from the dollar menu. I know sometimes, it's just affordable as well. Another is negative childhood events. So maybe, just coming from neglect or abuse, and just, finding whatever you can eat, and sometimes when we, just find whatever we can't find in the refrigerator, it's just sometimes, can lead to unhealthy choices or just some frozen pizza. So those are just some factors that can contribute to childhood obesity. Um, Another thing that is very important for parents and caregivers and teachers and, caregiver providers, daycare, is just to choose a My Plate. That's anywhere that they show at the doctor's office, at the WIC office, at elementary schools, cafeterias. You see that everywhere about Choose My Plate. So the portions, your milk, your so milk will fall into the dairy category, and then your fruits, your vegetables, and your protein, which would be your meats and all of that. So that's very important to follow every meal because that will prevent childhood obesity. Another thing that so another thing that can lead to childhood obesity can also just be where we come from, like kind of your culture. So, for example, myself, I'm Mexican. I'm from Los Angeles, California. So, there's a lot of, street food, and Hispanic food sometimes tends to not be that healthy. If you cook at home, it is kind of healthy because, we eat like a lot of beans and, fresh tortillas. But if you kind of eat from the street, like the taco street or the restaurants, and yeah, it's filled with a lot of grease and a lot of fat, so it's also, cultural. Um, I I figure that childhood obesity is definitely not good for the kids because that can lead to being bullied at school. I know from personal experience, again, growing up during my middle school years, I was a little bit overweight, not to the point where obesity, and obese, unhealthy, but I was a little bit overweight, and I did get a little bit made fun of, especially that I'm 4'8", and students, other peers would call me an Oompa Loompa and all of that. So it did lead to bullying and brought my self esteem very low, to the point where at the last semester of middle school, I had an eating disorder. I was borderline to anorexic. So after being, a little bit overweight to anorexic, it's just not good, So I definitely do not want kids, to be put into that bullying, because it is definitely not fun. And it can cause, you know, health issues. As much as being obese can cause health issues, as diabetes, heart disease, and all of that, blood pressure, also being underweight, can cause other health issues, low on iron, anorexic, or even lead to bulimic. So it just eating healthy and preventing obesity is what teachers, caregivers, parents need to know how to prevent with their kids, their students. And also it would just help them just become more positive in their body image while, going through puberty in high school. So obesity should definitely be prevented, and can be prevented by just leading an example. Parents lead by example. I know I will do that. I mean, I eat pretty healthy, and I know I'm going to lead that by example, once, my son and future kids grow up. I like to say, monkey see, monkey do, right? And kids usually like to follow what they see. So, yeah, so thank you very much for taking the time to listen on my topics and prevention on childhood obesity. And I hope that many of you, learn a little bit of watching this video or understood my main points. So, thank you very much.